Thank you so much for tuning in to What to Think. My name is Jolie Odell. I work at VentureBeat.com internet website. Usually my co-host is Dylan Tweeney, but hey, boss man got called up for jury duty, so you're stuck with the arguably more competent Jordan Novet, our cloud reporter. Say hi, Jordan.
Hi, Jordan.
That was a dad joke. Although, ironically, Dylan is the dad. You are not yet a parent.
No, I'm not.
Okay. So, no, Jordan is one of our favorite staffers. He always cracks corny jokes, and I'm sure we'll get plenty of them today.
I'll try my best.
Okay, thank you. So, we want to get you guys up to speed on a few quick tech topics. The Alibaba IPO filing. I was out of the office when this happened. Jordan, fill me in. Tell me what happened, because we've been all waiting for this Alibaba IPO.
Yep. All the headlines that came out said, finally, we've been waiting for it for years. And now we know that Alibaba is truly a vast company. It's often compared with Amazon.com. And we know that as much as I might like to think it's a big cloud company, it's quite small in comparison with Amazon's cloud division, which I like to look a lot at. But really, they do quite well for themselves. And what I found is that they're going to continue to grow as a retailer and challenge many of the e-commerce companies around the globe now that investors in America will be able to buy in. We don't know exactly what market it's going to be appearing on, actually. That wasn't in the filing. And also, we don't know how much they're going to try to raise. So there's still some unanswered questions, but we do know some of the banks that are participating in the deal. And we do know that there's a lot of market opportunity, not only in China, but around the globe for Alibaba to continue to grow. Oh, totally. It's a fascinating company to watch. They have a lot of different elements to it. They just have been on an acquisition run. They've bought a video company that is called Youku To-Do. Yeah, I saw that one. It was a really cool buy. I think if you want to go through like Alibaba acquisitions, that's like a phone book. Yeah, there's a lot of deals. That was a recent one. And then they also invested $692 million in a Chinese department store chain called In Time Retail Group. And that's going to improve the actual experiences in In-Time stores. There's like 36 of them in China. And then there's also going to be integrations of online technologies at the physical points of sale. That's what we were just so crazy. When I think when you talk about a company that can just throw away, a $500 million or more just as an investment, that's a big freaking company. So Alibaba, everybody, you are going to be spending your money, hundreds and hundreds of dollars for one share of Alibaba stock in short order. Another really cool story we came across, well, cool for varying definitions of cool, is that the federal government is testing out this driver's license for the internet. Basically, so you verify your identity once, and then you can go to different websites and government services or applications and prove who you are and get, like, for example, your government benefits. If you get food stamps, you can get those online, and you only need to prove your identity, and it's all highly encrypted and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I get very tripped up on identity and tracking and privacy and Big Brother knowing who I am at any time. I also am concerned about it. Does everyone have to get one right away, or what's the roll timeline? No, I don't know that they're going to. Right now, they're just testing it. It's just a pilot, but I'm still keeping my cash under the mattress, if you know what I mean. Okay. All right. Now, the SpaceX shuttle launch, did you hear about it? Did you cover it at all? No, I've been in another planet, the cloud planet. Okay. Tell me about it. Well, the SpaceX shuttle, basically what they did is they took a SpaceX shuttle, I think it was a Falcon 9. They launched it a mile up, just straight kind of up. And it was there hovering around over the cattle. And then it gracefully landed again in a field. Not, some kind of splashdown climactic event in the ocean, but like a normal landing. So does this mean that I'm going to be able to get flown into space this year, or what does that actually mean? Well, I don't know their commercial spaceflight plans for human cargo. I mean, if you're not an astronaut, the answer is probably no, not this year. Damn.
I know, right?
I wanted to go.
Me too. I've been wanting to get out of this like solar system, or at least out of low Earth orbit. Anyone can go to low Earth orbit these days. Amazon's smartphone is the last big story of our week, and the big news is that it looks like every other smartphone. Come on, Amazon. You got so much going on. You sell every gadget. You couldn't crib a few notes and come up with something truly climactically different.
Do I need to get one? Or is it just another...
Well, do you already have a smartphone?
I just have my iPhone over here.
Well, then no, I don't think you need it.
Do we know how much it's going to cost?
I'm not sure. Hold on. Let me see. But in the meantime, yeah, it looks a lot like an iPhone. It's got those rounded edges. And yeah, we don't yet know how much it's going to cost, but it looks very iPhone-y. Yeah. Womp womp. Thanks, Amazon. Wait. Yeah, let's wait this one out.
I will say the phone that I do want to try out is the Ara project from Google, this modular phone. I think that's going to be revolutionary because you won't have to shell out a huge amount for some fancy big name phone. It's just going to be replacing the little flash module or getting a new chip if you need to do that. I think that is far more what a whole world would need, not just buying the latest Amazon or Android or
you know
Apple
what it
phone.
Reminds me of? The whole idea of a modular piece of hardware. It reminds me of sitting in my crappy one-bedroom apartment in 1999, building my first Linux machine with a freaking screwdriver, like just getting my hands on my hardware and making a computer. And now with these laptops, like you can't open them up, much less swap out components. So
not even a battery.
Not even a freaking battery. Pardon my language, everybody. I'm salty today. So we are going to bring on a very special guest. But before that, I just want to say a quick thank you to our host and sponsor, New Relic. And I know, Jordan, you know New Relic. It's a software analytics company, and they're very, very big in the cloud world because they help you track your apps and all their metrics across millions of web and mobile applications. And they really help the people who build modern software understand the stories their data is trying to tell them. New Relic supports PHP, Python, Ruby, Java, .NET, Node, iOS, and Android apps. So when your software breaks, everyone loses, but New Relic will help you improve your software performance. And with that, I want to bring on my good friend, Mr. Jesse Stay. Hiya, Jesse. How are you?
Doing great, Jolie. How are you?
Well, super duper. Couldn't be better. So I last saw you last week. We bumped into each other at F8, Facebook's developer conference. And, well, first, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and what brought you to F8?
Yeah, sure. So I wrote, in terms of Facebook, I've written a few books, but especially for Dummies books. But I wrote Facebook application development for Dummies. Also wrote another one that's now mostly defunct called FBML Essentials through O'Reilly, and I've been writing about Facebook API development. I've merged into marketing lately and other things. Started as a software developer. The dark side. I'm still a software developer, but I'm now also considered a marketer, which is kind of the theme of F8, I think, in that software developers are now marketers.
I think that you're absolutely correct. I know that a lot of the themes were about growth, which is a buzzword for marketing, and monetization, which is a buzzword for sales. So it's very interesting where you see these app developers really not outsourcing that part of the job, but kind of taking it on themselves, if they're solo developers especially. And F8 had some really interesting announcements. And I think if you were watching the feed as a consumer, a lot of this news doesn't immediately strike you as something you absolutely have to pay attention to. F8 is now an annual event. Facebook launches their ad network. Parse will now let your apps work offline, and the logins are now anonymous. A lot of that struck, the mainstream news people I talk to is like, oh, boring. But for developers, this is really exciting. And I think the first thing Mark Zuckerberg said when he came out on stage is that the era of move fast, break things is over.
Yeah, I'd argue even more so for marketers. It's exciting, I'd argue that the hardcore developer side of Facebook era in some ways is over. If you go to developers.facebook.com now, all you're seeing there now is marketing related things. You're seeing the audience network. You're seeing the like button. You're seeing get more installs as a main theme. Sharing as a main theme, which are all marketing themes. So to me, I think Facebook is trying to push their developers towards focusing less on the geeky, hardcore API access, social design, stuff like that, more towards more simple integration specifically within mobile of ads and learning how to integrate targeted ad campaigns, learning how to get more installs for their apps using Facebook, and using Facebook as a marketing tool that will automate the things that the developers are building. So in some ways, I think it's even more exciting for marketers. Developers, I think if you're a hardcore developer, I don't think F8 for me, honestly, the developer side of me was not as excited this time as it was last time with the Open Graph launch.
Well, obviously,
stuff like that.
Yeah, the Open Graph launch really changed everything. Jordan, the Open Graph launch, is that something you know? It's the one where Mark Zuckerberg came out and said, okay, now you can... They introduced the concept of actions, and it really incorporated a lot of stuff. Okay, Jesse, can you explain Open Graph for our listeners in a better way?
So the buzzword that everyone invented was frictionless sharing. The idea is that as you're using an app or using a website or anything you build, as you use that app, it automatically, with permission from the user, will share the things they're doing in that app out to Facebook. Spotify is the classic example. When you listen to songs on Spotify, you authorize through Facebook, it will automatically share on your Facebook timeline the songs that you're listening to.
Does Spotify have any money that it gets when that happens each time?
I think they have deals with the artists themselves. I don't think they're getting any money from Facebook, if that's the question. But I honestly, I don't know.
That's fine. I was just wondering.
I don't know how they work that out.
Okay.
I think, though, at F8 this year, the biggest news for developers was just, well, we won't break the build anymore, announcing that they'd be compatible for older versions of their API, and that when they updated the APIs, it wouldn't break other people's applications, that they would stop doing that. But that's kind of, that's not exciting. It's very safe.
Yeah, it's a given, and Facebook is late to the party on that.
No kidding.
Twitter launched this a while back with their API, in fact, years ago, which is odd because normally Facebook is outpacing Twitter on the API, but in this case,
kidding.
Twitter beat them to the punch. So yeah, that part just wasn't that exciting. In fact, the session at F8 that they talked about this, they called it a Graph API 2.0 is the title of the session, making you think there was an entirely new API. Well, and in fact, the guy starts out the session saying the Graph API 2.0 is actually just the fact that we can attach 2.0 to an API version.
It's not that exciting.
Yeah.
But the mobile ad network that they launched, it seems like there could be a lot of potential for it. As a marketer, is that something for you, Jesse, that you think a lot of companies will want to get in on right away?
Yes, the audience network is powerful, and it's really the marketing tools that Facebook launched that are the exciting things from F8. The audience network is basically a competitor with AdSense. It basically allows, but with a focus on mobile specifically, and it allows any mobile app developer to automatically and very easily integrate ads within their mobile application. So they're going up against the iOS ads, are going up against AdSense and others, and providing basically a cloud platform for advertising in any mobile app, which is very powerful. I anticipate that they will also be integrating, well, they already do to an extent, integrate social actions into these ads so that you're also seeing actions and things from your friends and family on Facebook, and the ads can get very personal that way.
I think what that means is you're going to have better experiences, new kinds of things to click on, random kinds of experiences that you've never seen before, which could maybe get more luxury brands starting to advertise. But I'm just wondering if that's going to make a whole lot of difference, because Facebook is already so large as an advertiser. It's basically, as far as I understand, Facebook and Google that are just dominating right now in online marketing. And I'm trying to figure out if mobile advertising for Facebook could be basically on par with desktop advertising that Facebook has been doing and will do for the next few years. Do you have any idea about whether that shift will actually come into play?
Oh, I think it already is.
Really?
Yeah, I think it already is. I think, in fact, Facebook's entire focus right now is mobile, and desktop is an afterthought. The entire developers at Facebook.com after F8 is now entirely focused on mobile, and they've announced already that, I mean, they have more mobile users than desktop users now. So it's
and they get, I think, how much of their revenue comes from mobile? Is it the majority yet? I think it is.
I'd have to look at recent stats. I wouldn't be surprised if it is.
But at F8, they said nothing bupkis about desktop. It never even came up. And at the last F8, the design side of the desktop was one of the biggest themes of the day. So yeah, it's very, very mobile focused. I spoke to a Facebooker and he said, yeah, we're getting to the point where we're going to be mobile only pretty soon, and we're looking forward to that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I had an account rep at one place that I should be careful saying too much, but I had one rep who suggested that the main focus of Facebook is on mobile first. The desktop is entirely an afterthought now.
And then at F8, Jolie, were there actually companies that said, yeah, we definitely want to start using this thing? When can we get our hands on it? Or was it just kind of the thing where it exists, we're enabling the platform, a lot of BS basically?
Oh, for Audience Network?
Yeah.
I think everybody was pretty excited about it.
I agree.
Yeah, and it really is. It was a very mobile and very marketing focused F8. But if you look at it, they're a publicly traded company now. This was their very first F8 after the IPO. So they can't come out and just talk about the nerdy things they're doing that don't make any money. They kind of have to say, okay, here's how we're going to get creative with the things that do make us money in a way that helps us to grow our bottom line. And I think that they were very responsible with their investors at F8.
Yeah.
Maybe it bored me to tears. Maybe it made me want to cry a little bit on the inside and also on the outside, because I think the company is getting a little far afield of its developer roots, which is something I have always appreciated about Facebook.
Yeah, I've gotten that sense as well, and I mean, they are clearly focusing on the marketer more now, and that's why I suggest. I mean, they are trying to push developers to think marketing more as part of that. Just because that's where the bottom line is, that's where they're making money, and that's where their investors invest is where that bottom line is, and the more developers are focusing on that, the more money they'll make.
I'm actually wondering, just because it's, to me, the next most prominent social network, how much Twitter is something to worry about when it comes to mobile marketing. Is this something that over time is going to become as big, as exciting for developers, for marketers?
Twitter has a lot more to learn in this area, and it's going to take them a while to get there. In my experience advertising on Facebook versus Twitter is Facebook is a lot cheaper to advertise than it is on Twitter. So if your goal is to drive app installs, if your goal is to drive actual conversions, I'd rather focus on Facebook than on Twitter. I do think it will get there, and I think Twitter's learning and they're getting better at it. I think Google is the real worry here with all the assets that Google has. Google Plus is not going away, despite what some people say. I also wrote, just full disclaimer, I also wrote Google Plus Marketing for Dummies.
That'll keep selling, I guess. I guess that's a good thing.
But they've already talked about it as a platform, just like Facebook is a platform. And the Google Plus part of Google is going to provide the same thing Facebook is providing for mobile apps and the other elements that Facebook is trying to platformatize, or whatever you want to call it. Jolie's the queen of words here.
Why, thank you. That's all the words I have about that. Thank you. Well, okay, Jesse, we're gonna wrap things up for today. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us and for sharing your actually really interesting thoughts on the subject.
It's truly my pleasure.
And dear listeners, once again, you've been subjected to another episode of What to Think, produced by VentureBeat in partnership with New Relic. Be kind to Jordan Novet, standing in today for Dylan Tweeney. And I am Jolie Odell. We will talk to you more later.